Have you ever stood in a group of people and felt like a ghost? Not in a creepy Halloween way, just like you were there but no one really noticed. You nod at the right times. You force a polite laugh when someone tells a story, and maybe even try to jump into the conversation once or twice. But it never quite lands. You're there, but somehow not in it. It happens more often than people admit. And it hurts in a quiet kind of way. It's not dramatic like rejection. It's more like slowly realizing your wallpaper. Always there. Always ignored. You might tell yourself it's because you're not interesting enough. Not funny enough. Maybe you're just awkward, shy, or not as cool as the rest of the group. So you keep shrinking. You try to take up less space. You say less. You become hyper-aware of how loud your breathing is. But here's the thing. What if the problem isn't you at all? What if this invisible feeling has less to do with who you are, and more to do with the signals you're unknowingly sending, and the way your brain has been trained to protect you from being seen? Because the truth is, your brain is incredibly smart at survival. And sometimes survival looks like hiding. Even in a room full of people, we grow up believing that to be noticed, you have to be loud, charismatic, naturally interesting. We're told that social success comes to those who speak up, stand out, and command the room. So, when you're quiet or feel out of place, you assume it's your fault. You assume there's something wrong with you because you don't fit the mold of the extroverted ideal. But what if that belief is backwards? What if the real reason you feel invisible isn't because you lack something, but because your nervous system is doing too good of a job protecting you? When you enter a room and your brain detects even a hint of social threat, maybe a group that seems tighter than you, more confident, more connected, your subconscious kicks in. It says, let's not make waves. So you go still. Your posture closes. Your voice softens. You try to disappear just enough not to cause friction. The irony is, that disappearing act makes people see you less, which makes you feel more invisible, and the loop tightens. It's not a personality flaw. It's not social failure. It's a survival reflex, and it worked at some point in your life. Maybe when you were younger, being invisible kept you safe. Maybe silence helped you avoid judgment. Maybe neutrality made you easier to tolerate. But you're not there anymore. You're not that version of you. And the spaces you walk into now, they don't need you to shrink to fit. They need you to breathe, to take up a little more space, to risk being seen. There's a term I like to use for this entire pattern: social shrinking. It's not a clinical diagnosis, but it's something most of us have done without even realizing it. It's when your presence starts to shrink the moment your brain senses you're not fitting in perfectly. You smile smaller, you nod more, you edit your words before you say them. You take longer to decide whether it's worth speaking at all. And here's where it gets tricky. The more you do it, the more others mirror your energy. If you hold back, they hold back too. Not because they dislike you, but because humans are wired to respond to social cues. And if your cues say, "I'm not really here," people respond accordingly. Let's break it down with a real example. You're sitting in a group at lunch, and someone brings up a movie you love. You want to jump in, add your thoughts, make a joke. But just as you open your mouth, someone else speaks. You freeze. Too late, you think. They've already moved on. So instead of rerouting or trying again, you quietly chew your food and nod. No one notices. And you quietly feel like maybe your voice wasn't needed anyway. Over time, this happens again and again, until you no longer try. You go to social spaces, but you've trained your system to say, "We don't participate, we survive." That one moment where you backed off, isn't about confidence. It's about pattern. It's about a protective loop that started small and became your default. Now, let's flip the angle. Imagine you're in a new class or workplace. No one really knows each other yet, but there's already a rhythm forming. A couple of louder personalities naturally take the spotlight. You show up consistently. You're polite. You do good work. You're always the one saying thank you, sorry, and no worries. You're the stable one, the easy one, the one who causes no tension. But days turn into weeks, and something strange happens. People start forgetting your name. They ask, "Have we met?" After 3 meetings. Someone uses your idea and presents it like it's theirs. Not out of malice, just because you didn't stake your claim. You start to realize you've become background again, but this time in slow motion. This kind of invisibility isn't about volume, it's about presence, or rather the lack of perceived presence. Because in trying to be agreeable, you've made yourself unmemorable. The nice one who's always around, but not quite there. It's like being the background music in a cafe. Pleasant, familiar, but never noticed. And unless you shift that pattern, claim a little space, assert a small edge, leave a mark, you'll stay in that role no one talks about but everyone forgets. So why does this happen? Why do we shrink, blend in, or disappear completely, even when we want to connect? The answer sits in our nervous system. Your brain has one job above all: keep you alive. And from a survival standpoint, visibility is risky. Being seen means being judged. Being judged could mean rejection. And to your primal brain, rejection equals danger. When you were younger, maybe being quiet helped you avoid getting picked on. Maybe fading into the background kept you safe at home or school. Over time, your brain learned silence equals protection, stillness equals safety, agreeability equals acceptance. But the adult world doesn't work like a school cafeteria. Now, connection requires participation, presence, the willingness to share, even if your voice shakes. And the hard truth is, your brain doesn't automatically update its software. It keeps running old scripts. Which is why, even in safe settings, you find yourself hesitating, shrinking, overthinking, because your nervous system is still running a playbook from the past. You're not broken. You're not boring. You're operating from programming that once kept you safe, but now holds you back. And the first step to changing that isn't to force yourself to be louder. It's to tell your brain, hey, we're not in danger anymore. It's okay to be seen now. All right, so now what? Knowing your brain is playing old survival tapes is one thing. But how do you start changing the pattern? Here are 3 small but powerful actions that retrain your system to feel safe while being seen. 1. The micro-claim. Once per day, claim something out loud. It can be as simple as, "That was my idea," or "I actually disagree," or "I love that movie too." Say it even if your voice is low. You're not trying to dominate. You're trying to exist more fully. 2. The 3-second window. When you feel the impulse to speak, don't wait. Don't over-edit. You have 3 seconds. Say it before your brain talks you out of it. The more you override the freeze, the more you teach your body that it's safe. 3. Posture shift. In group settings, take up 10% more space. Not with words, with body language. Uncross your arms. Unclench your jaw. Sit like you belong, not like you're waiting for permission. These aren't about faking confidence. They're about slowly proving to your nervous system that it's okay to show up. And when you practice these, you might notice something strange. People start responding differently. They listen longer. They remember your name. They reflect your energy instead of absorbing it. Because you weren't invisible. You were just hiding. Now you're letting yourself be seen. If you've made it this far, let's just take a second to pause and breathe. Because if this resonated with you, it means you've probably carried this invisible weight for a long time, and no one saw it. Not fully. Maybe not even you. Until now. That quiet ache of feeling unseen isn't just in your head. It's real. It's the result of years of learning to make yourself small for the sake of comfort, acceptance, or peace. But here's the truth that hits hardest. You were never supposed to stay small. You were supposed to grow, to be here, to be in it. You don't have to become the loudest person in the room. You don't need to reinvent your entire personality. You just need to stop hiding from yourself. Start with one moment, one breath, one sentence that you say even when your voice trembles, because the world doesn't need a perfect version of you. It needs a present one. And if you found yourself in this video, if you felt like someone finally said out loud what you've been silently holding, then maybe it's time to share it. Not just the video, but your presence. In rooms, in conversations, in life. Let people see you. You're not invisible. You never were.